growing up in Spring Valley?
Wow. Growing up in Spring Valley, I had a relatively happy childhood. I ended up by being the only Jewish girl that ever went to services with her father every week, because I was crazy. I worshipped my father, and he adored me. So it was
And you lost your mother when you were how old?
At 8 days before I turned 15.
Right.
I lost my mother. And of course I had to get my father married off as quickly as possible, because he was expecting me to do everything my mother did, plus everything that I had to do on my own. So I did. I pushed him until he got married in Leicester and was actually single for 11 months. Then he married Blanche, but then they had a 20-year relationship together, so that is another long affair. Your father hated Blanche because she was a fat cow and stupid. Yeah.
I remember her. I remember her, believe it or not.
You were very young. You were very young, Riley. Your father did not like Blanche because he couldn't stand fat women who were stupid. That was too much for him to take.
Go back one second. How did your father meet your mother? Was it in Ohio somewhere?
No, it was in Glen Cove, Long Island, New York.
Was his brother lived there too?
No. He had relatives that were all through the island, but he was. My mother's family had a little hotel, and my grandma, my mother's mother, was a professional Hungarian chef. She did everything in that place. I mean, she baked, and all the bread had to be her own. Her rolls, everything was her own. And in those days, people really were big eaters.
Right.
And she was a big eater.
Your mother?
My mother was a big woman.
Yeah.
Her mother was a big woman. All her sisters became big women.
Because your father was not. Your father was slender. Yeah.
He wasn't slender, but he was normally built.
Yeah.
You know, and he was. My Joel and I were always on the slim order, to say the least, because we couldn't stand fat people. I never liked fat people either. I mean, we had a thing about black people. It was about fat people. It didn't help. But my father